Readipop, music changing lives.
Hey guys, Readipop is breaking new ground today because we're not only recording our Music Changing Lives podcast with audio, but also with visual. So hello out there to everyone. This is also a slightly different episode because I'm joined by a good bulk of Team Readipop, and we are going to be talking about our youth programme, AAA. I'm going to kind of get straight into it and ask you all to introduce yourselves. I'm starting with Amy. Amy, who are you? What do you do?
Hi, I'm Amy. I am the Executive Director at Readipop, and I've been here for quite a long time now. I've been here for nearly 7 years. So I've kind of seen the growth of our youth programme throughout that time, which has been great. But yeah, that's my job.
There we go.
I'm Louise. I am the Programme Manager now, which is a new job. So I was the Education Programme Coordinator until recently. So I've been here for about 3 years now, and I organise all of the education stuff.
You'll quickly find out that we're all really bad at explaining our jobs because there's so much to do. And Abbie.
Hi, I'm Abbie. I'm the studio coordinator here at Readipop. I'm also a music leader, and I do all the techie stuff, the sound techie stuff.
All of the techie stuff.
All the techie stuff.
And Harrison.
I'm Harrison. I'm media creator and music leader, so I make like the music videos, and also I've been doing AAA since probably last summer, June.
Yeah. So I think Abbie's the only person who's been on the podcast before.
Yes.
So the only returnee. But yeah, so I guess straight into it. For anyone who's not familiar, what is Readipop's AAA programme? Amy, you might be best to answer this first.
So AAA stands for Access All Areas, and it was kind of born out of the fact that we were delivering one-to-ones, previously referred one-to-ones from partners. So it often forms part of young people's alternative provision. Young people are referred to us for sessions. They come down here, they do studio production or rapping, or instrumental sessions, whatever they want to do, whatever way we can get them involved in music. And then we identified a huge need for free-to-access youth provision in Reading in particular. So we started running free-to-access youth clubs, and the project has just grown from there. And we now have a load of projects that are encompassed within AAA itself, within the programme. And I'm sure Louise can tell you a little bit more about the projects that we run.
So we've got our one-to-one mentoring sessions that happen weekly. We've got 2 youth clubs. So we've got In the Mix, which you do on Amersham Road, which is mainly rap based. And then we've got our AAA Fridays here, which they come in the studio or they go in the rehearsal room and just make music together. We also do Family Jam every first Saturday of the month, where families come and make music together. I literally can't think of anything else.
It's the classic thing of you go, oh yeah, and then we do that thing, and then an hour later we were like, oh yeah, and that's that other thing that we do.
Don't worry, I've got my laptop up. I can tell you the other things that we do.
What do we do this?
So we also run holiday sessions during the school holidays. Yeah, we have one this afternoon from 2 till 4. And we run primary school arts award workshops in the summer term, which means that we end up delivering to thousands of young people across Reading and the surrounding areas. We also run outreach workshops, which are targeted to more deprived communities and special schools, pupil referral units in and around Reading. And we also do workforce development, which 2 of the people on the podcast today are part of. So Abbie and Harrison are both under 25, and they are forming part of our creative employment and our emerging music leaders projects, which is giving opportunities full-time or some work to those who've come out of further education and trying to create a career in the arts. So that's what that's part of. And we're in the process of creating our youth board, which will help further inform Readipop's strategy and help young people to find their voice from within the projects themselves. So it's a huge programme. And over the last 3 years, for example, we accessed 3,686 young people, which is pretty impressive. But we prioritise work with vulnerable young people, so those who have barriers to access, and 87% of our participants have barriers to access music. So we are working with the most vulnerable people in and around Reading.
And a lot of those kids, I suppose, going over to you guys and the one-to-one sessions that we have, I mean, maybe you want to explain a little bit of how those one-to-one sessions go, the kids who come along to those one-to-one sessions, and kind of what those sessions are like, because these guys are doing it on the front line, if you like.
You want to go?
No, so it's purely based on what the young people want, which is what's good about it. So like you'll have people in the live room, whether they want to learn instruments or just play along to songs. And then you also have the people that want to rap, and they come in and you help them get rap songs down for the first time ever, really.
Did it feel like a kind of like new concept to you, like when you came into Readipop? Was it like, oh, this is something that can be done for young people?
Yeah. So it's like it's not a formal education in a way, which makes it good, because it works both ways. Then it's fulfilling for the both of you.
They tell us what they want to do. We don't really know what we're going to do until they come in and go, I actually don't feel like doing this today, I feel like doing this. And we're like, okay, then let's do that.
And do you see the kind of impact of that in the sessions? Do you see, obviously you generally have the same people coming in every week, and that obviously grows and grows and grows with the work that Louise is doing. But
yeah, it kind of builds their own motivation. Like letting them have the freedom to do what they want makes them more dedicated and want to achieve something themselves, which is like something that I thought was really amazing.
But sometimes they'll come in and they'll not know what they want to do, and then after a few weeks they'll end up wanting to be a producer.
Yeah, and they'll be like, next week we're doing this. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And you get kind of kids that will kind of get referred to us, and they'll be like, oh, they don't engage in school and they don't try and they're not creative or they're not interested in anything. And then they'll come in, they'll be like, I'm doing this today and I have this plan and we should be doing this.
Yeah, this is the plan for the song, and then I'm going to have an album.
It's that thing that I remember when I first arrived here, and I think Amy said, like, we treat everyone as musicians. When you come into the session, you're a musician, and that is kind of, I guess, the overwhelming thing with those sessions.
Yeah. And it gives them a bit more of a purpose as well.
And is that the same with, say, so the youth work on the Amersham Road that all of you guys have been along to in the mix? I guess maybe explain a little bit if that does that kind of transfer along to the group work, and is that a bit different? Or
I'd say it's different, but I'd say Amersham Road is more how they respond to each other as a group. So they'll come in and they'll want to rap their songs, but like over time you see them sort of like control each other.
It's like they want to prove themselves to each other, and then once they've done that, they're like in charge of the session, and then it all switches every week who wants to actually do something and who doesn't. So we just roll with whoever wants to do it.
I guess it weirdly kind of becomes community led.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's pretty much letting them do what they want to do and then just going with the flow.
And I guess why are we working with these kids? is the question. Why do we work with these kids? Why do we do this program? What kind of reason?
Well, we're working with kids who otherwise wouldn't be able to access what we are providing for them. So the one-to-one sessions are generally paid for by referral partners, so they will contribute towards the sessions. But everything else that we run is completely free to access. So therefore, we're enabling those who come from the most economically deprived backgrounds to be able to access real music, real studio space, real time with professional musicians, which is something that not really anybody else does, especially not in this area. So we're pretty unique in that respect. And we do target those who are the most vulnerable in order to be able to help them with their education. So for example, as part of the one-to-ones, we're able to do arts awards. Yeah. So we've had young people who are not in education, employment or training at all. So they have no qualifications, none whatsoever. And we have a few examples of where we've run arts awards with these young people. So whether it's a bronze or a gold arts award, and then they've gone on to access music at further education. So we've got young people from pupil referral units into ACM, for example, to study music. And we had one young person who was not in education at all. He did a gold arts award with us, and then he got a place at Berlin University to study music, which was incredible. So we have some real success stories from working with those who are in the worst place in their life, and then they come out in a completely different space because of the work that we've done with them.
And what's kind of the impact on, like, I mean, I know that I felt it since being here. Has that impacted the way that you think about what you do, or about your life, the way you think about music, I guess, as well? Has something changed in you guys whilst being at Readipop and seeing that work?
Well, we were saying the other day that we don't like being off work, do we?
No. Whenever we're like, no, we want to be in work.
Yeah. I guess because, like, it's such a fulfilling job that you just want to keep doing it.
And we get as much out of it as the young people do as well. Like, we leave sessions and we're, like, pumped. Like,
yeah, these guys will come, like, bounding up the stairs to our office space, like, oh my God!
That was such a great session! Yeah. So, yeah.
It's seeing the progress in the young people as well, I think. Because when you get to know them, you actually get to know them on a personal level. And then seeing them grow is what sort of makes it, to be honest.
Because this is their safe space.
Yeah.
Like, they feel like they can open up with us, and we don't pressure any of that. It's like whenever they want to talk to us about anything, they know that they can. And even if they come in and they don't want to say anything, we know that it means as much to them.
Yeah.
To be able to just do that. So...
Nice.
And I suppose that always goes back to one of the things that I'll always say about our sessions is that the most important and primary outcome is not musical in any of our projects. It's social and it's personal. It's about working on young people's life skills, their confidence, enabling them to be able to go away from this space and be a better person.
But I suppose it's kind of, for some people, it's quite an abstract thing. It's like, well, you're coming in and you're not necessarily teaching music. We're kind of almost actively adverse to teaching people too much theory and that kind of stuff. It's kind of a very creative process. We like it to be led by them and for them to be doing their own original music. And I suppose it's kind of quite an abstract process for people. But it's actually the empowerment that gives and the confidence that you see it give those kids helps them in other spheres of their lives. And kind of, you're brilliant in the funding aspect and explaining how we kind of raise funds to do this kind of work. But yeah, explaining that kind of side of the abstract side of why we do this and how transformative it is without always talking about grades and school and all of that kind of stuff.
We don't have those parameters here. We don't run to a curriculum. The only formalised kind of learning that we do is through Arts Award, and that's so expressive and so creative. You don't even have to write for that. So if you've got a young person who won't write or can't write, it can all be either dictated or it can just be a voice note or whatever. It can be so accessible, and that's why these sessions work, because for the first time, these young people come into this space and they're good at a thing and they're being told that they can and that they will. And that
they quite often are
success.
really good at that thing.
Yeah, this is the
shockingly
thing.
good at that thing.
Incredibly good. We've got some incredibly talented young people who just have no self-confidence and no self-esteem. And that's what we really work on here, is helping them to understand that they are capable.
Kind of going onto that side, it's like a lot of people don't realise kind of all of the behind the scenes work and everything that goes on other than the actual sessions to make them happen. So I guess this is kind of your side of things, but how does a young person get into a one-to-one session?
Well, so they're mostly referred by schools or pupil referral units or Brighter Futures, anywhere like that. But we have actually found, since coming out of pandemic, that we've had a lot of self-referrals, which is hard because there's no money there. But so we have a referral form, and they just give us all the information about the young person, and they come in for a taster session, and we see if it works out, and it normally does work out if they need us. And then they start coming weekly for their sessions for an hour, and they sit there with Abbie or Harrison or Will, who's not here today. He's important too.
And the group sessions, they're open access? Anyone can...
Yeah, so Fridays are open access. You can just turn up Friday 6 till 8 here. And yeah, the studio's open, the rehearsal room's open, and they just jam and they just write new music together. And we are hoping to get everybody to perform at the festival, which is our next step.
Thank you for that wonderful lead-in. So kind of big announcement recently is that we're going to have a AAA takeover at the festival, which is the first time that Readipop's ever done this. I guess kind of, it's just a showcase of all the work that we're doing with our young people, and a showcase of their work and what they've been up to over the last year and maybe more. What are you guys most excited for in all of this? I know loads of our music leaders are going to be involved in it as well, and there's going to be people jamming on stage and stuff. It would be cool.
I'm just really excited for the opportunity for us to be able to showcase our phenomenal young people in front of a live audience, a festival audience, but also for them to be able to perform alongside world-renowned artists, which is, for some, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
It's a huge stage, and I know from my performing days when I was younger that was a big deal for me. So for these kids, it's like 100 times that. But yeah.
So we've got, is it 4 hours we've got to fill? I've got a list of everybody that I want to play. We just need to get them practicing.
Make it happen. So I guess I was going to go back to kind of the fundraising side of this, because obviously none of this work that we do with young people is for free, even though most of the sessions that we're offering are. So how does this money kind of come to Readipop, and what are we doing to kind of make these sessions happen?
So that's most of my job. I spend a lot of my time writing funding bids and reporting on the activity that we're doing, and especially our youth work, because as you said, most of it is free to access. That does rely heavily upon funders. So the AAA programme as a whole is funded by Youth Music, and we're extremely grateful to them. This is in fact the second 3-year programme that they have funded for us. So we just finished the last 3 years, and that's where the earlier stats came from. And we're just embarking upon our next 3 years, which is really exciting because it gives us a proper opportunity to embed the full programme within the Readipop programme. And long term, we'll look to embed it hopefully into our MPO funding if we're successful in the next round. So Youth Music are our main funder. We're also funded by Children in Need. They fund the In the Mix sessions and some one-to-ones, and some other funders as well. We're very lucky to have on board. So we do rely very heavily on their funding. But every year we find that there's different things that we need to fundraise for. And my current priority, as Louise touched on earlier, was the fact that we've had a lot of self-referrals for the one-to-ones. And that's kind of come out of the pandemic. We found that a lot of the most hard to reach young people, especially in Reading, seem to have fallen out of the system. So they're not attached to a youth worker, they're not in education, they've taken themselves out of education because it didn't work for them during the pandemic. Because a lot of our young people just didn't have access to the internet, which when you're learning from home is like a non-negotiable. So they have kind of really suffered from the pandemic. So we're currently trying to fundraise so that we're able to take on more young people who don't have access to their own funding and to be able to give them the one-to-one support that they really need the most. So that's my current funding priority.
And I suppose, have you seen, particularly you guys, because you guys are slightly newer, but have you seen the impact of the pandemic on the young people that are coming through our doors?
Yes.
Yeah. I think there's this kind of perhaps not for our listeners, but I think there's kind of an understanding for some people that Reading's quite a prosperous town in the southeast, and we don't have as many social issues and issues with deprivation, and actually that's really not the case. And yeah, we're working with some of the kids in this town that kind of have the most crap thrown at them.
Well, they do. Like, Amersham Road, for example, is in the 10% most deprived areas in the country. So the young people that we're working with at the Weller Centre on a weekly basis at In the Mix are living in complete economic deprivation. So we are really trying hard to access those that are the most vulnerable and hard to reach.
And I think even with working with the same kids from before pandemic and after pandemic, there's been a huge difference in confidence. Where we've got to before, it's just crashed back down and we've had to build it back up again. We're getting there.
It's quite a big chunk of their life as well that's just been lost socially as well. So you've got to rebuild their confidence in that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've got a AAA takeover at the festival to hopefully build up to, which will be super exciting. So yeah, I kind of wanted to kind of get some more anecdotal stories as well of the work that we do, and kind of ask what your kind of favourite memories or kind of stories of kids that you're most proud of, without naming any names, for the work that they've done over their period at Readipop. Is there any kind of standout moments that you're like, wow, this really embodies the work that we're doing with young people?
There's like one thing where there's one kid where he had a few issues with the police and stuff, and then he came to me, it must have been about a month ago now, and he said he wanted to work like as a public speaker to talk about how he wants to change his life and why what he's done is wrong. And like previously before that, you wouldn't have got any of that.
And I don't think he'd ever have told a teacher that.
No, exactly. So he's sort of like asking for advice, but it's also to have that self-awareness and clearly changing himself outside of music is what's good.
That's amazing. Abbie?
Mine's got to just be the kid that's now on our riser.
It's going to be my one.
Yeah, sorry.
You can say his name.
Oh yeah, Kyron.
Yeah.
He started as like one-to-ones, and then like I've had the privilege of like making the songs with him, and like seeing his excitement about it just like makes me love music even more, and like where he's just improving all the time, and now he's just famous, so like that's just
There's something about it that's kind of like the embodiment of all of our work. It's like he's had this huge progress from going from the one-to-one social process to being on the label and having stuff released.
yeah, and now it's doing well, like that's just amazing. It's so good.
Everyone stream K Kane Loco.
We might have to put it at the end of the podcast. But yeah, no. So yeah, and it's also really catchy. So
Banger.
yeah, Louise.
I'm really enjoying the Friday sessions so we've moved buildings, and in the old building we probably had about 6 kids coming along weekly, and then now we've come back after pandemic. We probably have about 8 or 10 every week, and so there's about 6 kids in the studio, just all from different backgrounds. Like they don't know each other, they've got not much in common, and they all managed to write a song together, and the songs are really good.
It's fun as well.
Yeah.
They're from such different walks of life at the Fridays as well.
And somehow Abbie and Harrison managed to get them all to work together. I know it can't be easy all of the time, but you managed to do it.
Putting like punk and then rap and then like all of it in one song is something I never thought I'd be doing. Like, but
they're friends
works.
as well.
yeah,
now as
they
well.
are friends. They all chat to each other outside.
They share each other their music and stuff. So.
And they come here as well to like be with each other now, which is an amazing thing because, you know, they're like a group.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's banter. There's no like, they're not nervous around each other anymore. Before it is they're quite shy.
They didn't speak.
Yeah.
We spoke for like 2 hours.
Yeah. And now they're the ones laughing at us.
It's that proper community thing as well, though. Again, it's like, actually, to be honest, we don't have many youth clubs in Reading, so kind of we're one of the ones. Yeah, nice to hear that. Yeah, and I guess Amy's kind of the veteran of this camp, so she probably has a few stories. So I'm asking her to do quite a hard thing. Yeah.
It's really hard to choose. I've been so lucky.
You can tell a few.
I've been so lucky to see so many stories of success and so many young people who really truly value the work that we do. We had one young person who had been kicked out of every school that he'd been to. He had a one-to-one tutor, but that was about it. He wasn't engaging in anything else. He wouldn't engage with his one-to-one tutor very often. But once he was referred to Readipop for his one-to-one sessions, even if his taxi didn't turn up, he would get on his bike and he'd come down here. He'd be here every week. If he was an hour early, he was an hour early. If he stayed for an extra 2 hours, he stayed for an extra 2 hours. But he would always be here. And he went from not being integrated in any form of education or anything social. He wasn't doing anything with any of his peers, to engaging with other projects, with other partners, and involving himself with a project that we did with Berserk Productions. And he actually ended up soundtracking one of their plays for their National Theatre Connections partnership. And he met the director of the National Theatre. So there we go. That was a huge, huge success. And we've also there was one particular young person who was at Cranberry College, who are one of our partners that we love dearly. And he came to us for sessions for about 2 years, I think. When he came, he couldn't really rap, but kind of liked rapping. And he very quickly became a very successful rapper, and he had no qualifications whatsoever. However, we managed to get him into ACM, so we must have done something right.
Yeah, and I guess including that we have kids who literally come in and basically can't talk, and they'll come out a few months later chatting.
Can't stop them.
And coming to the youth group and chatting to other young people.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Yeah, but no, thanks guys. That kind of, I think, summarizes, unless anyone wants to shout me and shut me down and go, no, you've forgotten this very clear thing. That kind of quite nicely summarizes our AAA program and the work that Readipop is doing throughout the year with young people. Really, really nice to do this with a good chunk of the team. We've got Eva sat in the corner spurring us on as well, and I'm sure Gavin will listen back to this at some point, and Pete. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you guys. Thank you to all our young people, if any of them are listening, and also obviously plug the fact that you can support this work that we're doing, and if you just head over to readipop.co.uk/donate. you'll find not only all of the information that we've talked about on AAA, but our other projects within the community, and also loads and loads of different ways to support our work. So on that note, thank you for listening or watching. Now I am not just a face for radio. Cheers for tuning in, and hope you will tune in to the next Music Changing Lives podcast. Bye. So, as mentioned, here is Loco by KK.
Going loco, but I'm on a roll. I'm going loco, but I'm on a roll. Stuck in slow-mo, ducking away from pole. Will I make it? I don't know, bro. For the sake of myself, for the sake of my will, for the sake of my health, I hope so. I'm going loco, but I'm on a roll. Stuck in slow-mo, ducking away from pole. Will I make it? I don't know, bro. For the sake of myself, for the sake of my will, for the sake of my health, I hope so. This rap shit is a passion. Got 21 flows, I'm a savage. Look at the hit like a different language. Should I jump on the beat? Should I spit some heat? Should I drop my EP package? If I sell my soul, can I manage? Pray I make it through this passage. The difference between you and I is that I can take this damage. Is that I can firm my health bar. Come boogie with me and my guitar. Watch me grow, then go so far. I'ma skirt off like a F1 car with my dogs in a penthouse bar. Cali's trains, we're getting charged. We get plugged in by these fumes. My tunes, they control a room. I can make a crowd go boogie. Digging through holes like Boogsy. Welcome to my head G, where people claim that it's crazy. Daily I'm wavy, somebody come save me. Stop being lazy, show some bravery. Dance to my song, no Patrick Swayze. I'm going loco, but I'm on a roll. Stuck in slow-mo, ducking away from pole. Will I make it? I don't know, bro. For the sake of myself, for the sake of my will, for the sake of my health, I hope so. I'm going loco, but I'm on a roll. Stuck in slow-mo, ducking away from pole. Will I make it? I don't know, bro. For the sake of myself, for the sake of my will, for the sake of my health, I hope so. Negative always in my mind, deep inside I know I'm not fine, but I stick to my late night grind. Okay, he's one of a kind. If you don't agree, what? If you disagree, go test your eyes, cause you might be blind. Really don't care about to live this life. I do it for the love and I do it for the fight. Do it for the love, not for the mobiles. Taking stuff that I shouldn't be taking. Pray that I don't have a daughter. Your girl's been pulling up to my shoulder whilst you're texting me for the promo. Few real friends, but I'm a solo. They're capping a lot, no polo. Enough love to my G's, no loco. Step round there with a mojo. These dumb girls, they think that I don't know. At the same time, got me going loco. 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 Hope you lot enjoyed that one, man. I'm going loco, but I'm on a roll. Stuck in slow-mo, ducking away from pole. Will I make it? I don't know, bro. For the sake of myself, for the sake of my will, for the sake of my health, I hope so. I'm going loco, but I'm on a roll. Stuck in slow-mo, ducking away from pole. Will I make it? I don't know, bro. For the sake of myself, for the sake of my will, for the sake of my health, I hope so. I hope so. Stuck in slow-mo, ducking away from pole.